Mother's Day Sunday here at ISKCON Scarborough. We're very grateful to you. Before we get into the class, I'll beg for blessings from each of you, from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from all of our spiritual masters, my spiritual master, and all of you, because everyone is capable of giving blessings. Om Adhyanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sargatam Saranagunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saranadita Shri Vishakhantamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhubhyo Japadikanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is Mother's Day, and traditionally, especially in the Western world, whenever it's someone's day, whether it's a birthday or a Father's Day or a Mother's Day or a Teacher's Day or whatever day it might be, the tendency is to essentially appreciate that person as if that person was Krishna. In other words, make it all about them. And it's actually not a bad idea in general to make something about someone, but our scriptures and all of our acharyas state that if we put that, the reason why we are all here in the material world is because we think that we are Krishna. That's the reason why we are here. And we are not going to get out of here by continuing to think that we are Krishna. So, Rupanuma Prabhu, who is my teacher, said that there are different ways of serving someone. You can serve someone through Maya. In other words, you make them really feel like as if they are Krishna, which is increase their illusion, in other words. Just lavish every single thing that you can, gifts, whatever it is, like just, make them feel like there's no other person except them in the world. Or we can serve that person through Krishna, or to help them in such a way, serve them in such a way that they can understand that I am a part and parcel of Krishna, and everybody else is a part and parcel of Krishna, and the reason I'm here is because I've forgotten Krishna. And if I can remember Krishna and actually be Krishna conscious, then that will solve problems for me as well as for everybody else. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Pitahamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. That means he's the father, he's the mother. So, in other words, when we appreciate someone as the blessing of Krishna, as a mercy of Krishna, then that is actually good for us and for them. Because then that person, they says, oh, I'm a blessing of Krishna. No. This relationship that I have with someone is a blessing of Krishna. And then that circle of gratitude gets complete with Krishna in the center. So in that mood, since we recently celebrated Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and Lord Nrsimha's nails are a very prominent aspect of him. And you have Lord Nrsimha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha in your temple here at ISKCON Scarborough. We'll actually do a meditation on Krishna's nails. Okay, so when you think about nails, everybody has? You have? How many of them, Sachin? 20, okay? 10 on your hands and 10 on your feet, okay? Everybody has. Some people might have more or less, that's a different matter. But in general, we all have 20 of them. And in general, they're a very insignificant aspect of our bodies. Nobody thinks too much about their nails. I mean, some people do. If you ever pass a nail salon and smell the smell, you'll see that people are thinking a lot about their nails. But in general, they're kind of insignificant. Unless they actually give you some kind of trouble. Like you happen to cut it a little bit too much when you're clipping your nails, right? And then it will remind you, nail will remind you that I'm there. They're also considered to be unclean, just like our hair. Hair, nails, and all the bodily byproducts are regarded as unclean. So anybody who has trained in deity worship knows that if I touch an offering with my nails or my hair, then it kind of becomes impure and unfit to be offered to Krishna, really. I mean, there are different things that we can do to purify it again, but in general, we try our best not to touch anything with our nails, especially if we are going to offer it to Krishna. Flowers, whatever it is, we try our best not to touch it with our nails. They are dead matter and they contaminate in general, whenever you are trying to do something clean. They are also, even though they are part of our body, they are kind of dead, in the sense that you don't feel any pain when you cut your hair. You don't feel any pain when you cut your nails. So they're kind of, in that way, somehow, they have their function. They're not superfluous completely. But they're kind of, strange parts of our body. But Krishna's nails are not like that. Everything about Krishna is transcendental. And everything about Krishna is absolute. What does that mean? Okay. There's a famous verse in the Brahma Samhita. We can chant that verse together. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham namaham bhajami. It's like we can understand the difference first of all by contrast. Okay, my foot is meant for a particular activity. I cannot dip my foot in a soup and expect it to get any nourishment for me. It might scald, it might burn, it might make you feel warm, but it's not going to help us anyway. So all of our body parts are meant for a particular purpose, and they can only do that one purpose. But I cannot hear from my eyes, right? I cannot touch through my sense of hearing. I cannot do certain things with certain senses. But Krishna's senses are not like that, because Krishna is absolute. Absolute means Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti, which means that he can perform any function with any part of his transcendental body. So Krishna can think with his little toe. Krishna can see with his hand. Krishna can smell, with any part of his body. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada points out that when we offer a flower, where do we offer the flower to? We offer a flower to Krishna's lotus feet. We don't offer a flower to Krishna's face. We offer it to Krishna's lotus feet. That is because when you offer a flower to Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna can actually smell the fragrance of your devotion through his lotus feet. Krishna can see through his toes. He can see through his nails. He can do anything with any aspect of his body. Now, Srila Prabhupada was very, very careful about how he used language. Once, Srila Prabhupada's disciple was giving a class. Srila Prabhupada liked to sit and hear his disciples speak. Spiritual masters often do that, because then they can correct the disciple in any misunderstandings that they might have acquired. So Srila Prabhupada was listening to class, and this disciple of Srila Prabhupada was saying, Krishna is in his name. How many times have you heard that? Have you heard that? Krishna in his name. Srila Prabhupada asked the disciple, where specifically in Krishna's name is Krishna? Is he in which part of the syllables of Krishna is Krishna present in? Can you tell me? So what Srila Prabhupada meant to say is we should not say Krishna is in his name. We should say Krishna is his name. Krishna is non-different from his name. There's a big difference. Krishna is in his name. Okay, where in Krishna's name is Krishna? Right? Specifically, that makes Krishna's name non-absolute, because some part of Krishna's name contains Krishna and some part of Krishna's name does not contain Krishna. You understand? So because Krishna is absolute, Krishna is his name. So therefore, Krishna's nail is completely transcendental and fully effective as if it was Krishna. Not that as if it was Krishna, the nail of Krishna is Krishna. So in the material world, we have gradation of everything. Like everything is in gradation. Some people have more money, some people have less money, some people have more intelligence, some people have less intelligence, some people have more education, less education, beauty, everything has different gradations. Okay? Even the level of devotion that someone reaches is of different gradations. Right? Not everybody is at the same level of devotion. Right? We can see that. The realization about Krishna that someone has is also at different levels. Lord Brahma realizes Krishna in a different way compared to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva realizes Krishna in a different way compared to Prahlad Maharaj. Hanuman realizes Krishna in a different way compared to Prahlad Maharaj. The Pandavas realize Krishna in a different way compared to the gopis. Among the gopis, the 108 closest gopis realize Krishna in a different way compared to all the other gopis. Every single blade of grass has a realization of Krishna different from Krishna's friend. So this taratamya, or this gradation, is there in every aspect. But this gradation does not exist inside of Krishna. So it's not that Krishna's hair or Krishna's nail is any less important than Krishna's lips or Krishna's eyes. They're no less important. They are completely transcendental. So this is an important thing to understand. Therefore, focusing on Krishna's nails is a worthy endeavor. And yogis have done this and continue to do this for hundreds, thousands, and millions of years, and they don't find the end of meditating on Krishna's nails. Now the altar doors will open at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. We'll see Krishna. We can observe ourselves how long we can continue to stare at Krishna's nails. And that will tell us the amount of realization we have about Krishna. How long can we think about Krishna's nails? How long can we continue to look at his lotus feet? Now everybody is going to be staring at Krishna's lotus feet. No, I'm not saying that. It's not artificial. The inspiration for this class came from Lord Narasimha, where everybody sings the song, the famous. Let's sing that verse together. 1, 2, 3. Tava kara kamala vare nakham adbhuta shrungam dalita hiranya kashipu tanubringam. Right? Lack of time. Otherwise you can sing. In that, Krishna's Lord Narasimha's nails has been defined, his hands are defined as Kamala Vare. Vare means Varishta. It's higher than a lotus flower. His hands are more beautiful than a lotus flower. Nakham Adbhuta Shringa. They are so beautiful. Adbhuta is wonderfully beautiful. Adbhuta Shringa. Now, if we see in the material world, somebody is describing a very powerful weapon, some kind of missile or some kind of thing. They don't describe it more beautiful than a lotus. They may call it beautiful, they may call it sleek, they may call it various words, but they will not call it more beautiful than a lotus. Nobody will take a gun or a bow and arrow or whatever weapon it is and say, oh, this is more beautiful than a lotus. Nobody will say that. But Lord Nrsimhadeva's hands, his hands, say lotus feet, lotus hands, lotus face, lotus. It's because they are actually beautiful. It's not like some grotesque depiction of strength that we see in the material world. Have you seen, bring to your mind some bodybuilder that you might have seen, like grotesque, like their veins are everywhere, like it's really, really ugly. Imagine any bodybuilder superstar that you have known. Very, very disgusting. Like, looks like their flesh is coming out of their bodies, But Krishna is not like that. Krishna, Lord Nrsimhadev, does not need to show his rippling muscles to give an idea of his strength. Krishna's strength is, even though he continues to remain the most beautiful, he's always the most strong. Krishna as a 6-day-old baby on Putana's lap was as lethal as Krishna with the Sudarshan Chakra. No less. But he's still beautiful. The cutest baby you can never see in the material world. So, that is Krishna. He doesn't need like rippling muscles and his beautiful lotus-like hands can become the most lethal weapon. You know how Varahadev killed Hiranyaksha? He killed him by slapping him with some foam from the ocean. Foam from the ocean. Foam. Have you seen foam? Not the foam that is made of mattresses. You can probably kill someone with that thing. But foam from the water. He just slapped his ear with the foam from the water, and that's how Hiranyaksha died. Hiranyaksha, the person who could defeat anybody in the whole universe. So you can see. So anyways, Krishna is beautiful. So therefore his nails are beautiful. When I started doing a study of Krishna's nails, just before Machine Supervision, I went to many different scriptures, but if I focus back on just the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I found more than 40 references to Krishna's nails. How many references, Sachi? 40 plus references, okay? And each of these references is in multiple verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And you know how deep you can get with any one verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? You can speak for weeks on one verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam because it's connected. And I was like amazed. How many cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are there? 12 cantos, right? Out of the 12 cantos, the nails of Krishna are referenced in how many cantos? 9 cantos. 9 out of the 12 cantos have a reference to Krishna's nails. Okay, so we'll do a quick run through of that. I cannot take you through the whole thing that is there, but quick run through. In the first canto, there's a description of the various incarnations of the Lord, and the 14th description is given of Lord Nrsimha. It's not that Lord Nrsimhadev is the 14th incarnation. It's in the list of incarnations that is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Nrsimhadev has a 14th spot. In that, it described how his beautiful nails tear open the abdomen of Hiranyakashipu. But in the same sentence, it describes how beautiful they are. Okay? In the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Nrsimhadev again is described, and he says his lotus-like fingernails tore apart the hard stone-like abdomen of Hiranyakashipu. It seems almost incongruous. You want to feel like a weapon is dangerous, it's lethal, but your beautiful lotus-like weapon is doing this. Okay. In the third canto, it is described how Lord Brahma, who was born from the navel of Sri Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he's the first living entity in the material world, and he's supposed to know everything, right? But he actually did not know anything when he was born, and everything was dark. And even though he could see the lotus that he was sitting on, he did not know where that lotus came from. So he dove into the waters where the lotus was floating, and he swam downstairs for 1,000 years. He could not find the end of it. And Lord Brahma is not someone who needs to take a breath to stay alive necessarily. He can hold his breath for a long time. He's the topmost yogi. But he could not. So he had to come back up, and he was scratching his head practically. And he was thinking, what should I do? Right? And in that, when the transcendental phrase Tapa was vibrated in his heart by the mercy of Shri Krishna, by Lord Bhagavad Vishnu, then he performed austerities and penances. And then at that point in time, it's described that Lord Brahma saw the toenails of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which were as beautiful as the petals of a lotus. Right? Then in the same canto, there's a description of how the 4 Kumaras when they entered into Vaikuntha, you know the whole episode with how they were not allowed to go into Vaikuntha by Jaya and Vijay. And when they became annoyed with Jaya and Vijay, the Vaikuntha Natha, Lord Vishnu himself came outside. And the first thing they could see was the toenails of Lord Narayan, who came out of Vaikuntha. And there it is described that the toenails of Lord Narayan were like rubies, self-effulgent rubies. And they were glowing. Whose nails are like rubies? I mean, you have to paint them. Right? So, then later on, in Kapila Dev's instruction to his mother, Devahuti, Devahuti is the wife of Krsna Muni, and she's the daughter of Swayambhu Manu, who was a king, and she comes and serves Krsna Muni very nicely, and then Krsna Muni decides to give her the experience of sense gratification. She constructs a 7-story plane. They go all over the universe for 100 years. They have a 100-year vacation. How long does our vacation last? Krsna Muni gave her a 100-year vacation. Okay, 100 autumns, it said. Okay, and then he brought her back, and then they settled down in their ashram, and she had 9 daughters, and all the 9 daughters were very beautiful and very qualified, etc., etc. And then he said, okay, I'm giving you children, now it's time for me to take sannyas. So Krsna Muni began to leave. And then when Krsna Muni began to leave, she said, well, my dear Lord, you cannot leave without giving me fearlessness. You have to give me fearlessness before you leave. I'm going to be alone. These girls are going to get married. They're going to go to their houses. I'm going to remain alone. How can I be fearless? So then Lord Kapila appeared as their son, Krsna Muni's and Devavuti's son. And then Kapila gave her instructions. And there he said that the Lord's ruby nails dispel all gloom. So has anybody felt gloomy ever? Maybe in the winter? Yeah? So that means if we were feeling gloomy, we were not thinking about the Lord's ruby nails. Okay? Because that's all we need to do, to contemplate the Lord's ruby nails that dispels all gloom from our life. These specific words are used. In the 4th canto, Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavanamata Shambhu, Lord Shiva, he teaches a song to the Prachetas, who then meditate on this song underwater for 10,000 years. 10,000 years they were chanting this mantra, the song of Lord Shiva, underwater. 10,000 years. In that, it is said, Lord Shiva is saying that the Lord's toenails are like petals of lotus growing in autumn. So it's a particular kind of lotus that only grows after the rainy season, and the clear waters of the autumn. And his toenails are Lord Shiva. In the 5th canto, it is described how Vamana Deva, Vamana Deva, you know the story of Bali Maharaj, how Vamana Deva asked for 3 steps of land, Bali Maharaj granted it. And then with the first step, he covered all of the lower part of the universe, like all the lower part of the universe, the Pataloka and the Bhuloka were covered in that one step. It was a right step. And then, it was a left step. And then in the next step of Lord Vamadeva, he extended his foot. You see he's doing like a gymnastic thing. His leg is like this, higher than his head. Okay, Lord Vamadeva covered the rest of the universe, which Bali Maharaj was the master of. And then he said, where should I put my 3rd step? So, right step, then left step. When that left step was extended so high, the left foot, it said specifically, I'll give you the verse, Vamapada Angushtha Naka Nirbhinna, which means that from the Vamapada, from his left foot, the toe of his left foot, Angushtha, his main big toe, Angushtha, Naka, the nail that was slightly protruding past the foot itself, the toe itself, pierced the coverings of the material universe. Now, if you think about how big the coverings of the material universe are, it's unimaginable. First of all, they're not manifest, they're unmanifest. I just heard in a Prabhupada's class that they're not manifest, they're unmanifest. So they have the energy of earth, but you don't see the earth manifest as a covering to the universe. But trying to cross through it is as dense as going through that many millions of yojanas of earth, for example. And so on. Earth, water, air, fire, all the different coverings, 7 coverings are there to the. And Lord Vamadeva's toenail, how much does a toenail protrude from a toe anyways? Like a couple millimeters maybe? 1 millimeter even? And that much was enough to pierce through the coverings of the universe, from which the waters of the Karana ocean, the Karanodaka water came into the universe, and that is what forms the Ganga that flows through all of the planets from the topmost heavenly realm all the way down to Pataloka. That's the Ganga. Okay, so that's the prayer. So Vamapada Angushtha Naka Nirbhinna is a specific phrase that is said there. Okay, now in the 7th canto, there are prayers by the Pitrus. You know, when pious people pass away, they go to a place called Pitruloka, and they stay there, and they remain there, and they are sustained by the offerings of their descendants. You know, sesame seeds, water, etc. It's offered in the pinda dana and so on and so forth. And they don't have to work basically because their descendants are providing them with their supplies. Okay, so and all they do is they sit there and they pray. And they in the seventh canto, the Pitruloka residents, the Pitrus, are praying to Lord Narasimha's lotus, the nails of his lotus feet and the nails of his lotus hands. That's what the Pitrus are doing. Okay, so when you do your Shraddha ceremony, you know that you're enabling that noble cause of their prayers to Lord Narasimha in the Pitruloka, right? And then in the 8th canto, of course, we talked about it. In that particular 8th canto, there's a description how when Vamanadeva walked into the assembly of Bali Maharaj, the effulgence of Lord Vamanadeva's toenails diminished the effulgence of everybody else present there. And there were all great personalities present there. You know, and a person's effulgence is visible. You know, when a great personality comes, you can see that this person is self-effulgent. And their effulgence was reduced because of that. Now in the 10th canto, okay, we are nearing the end of this particular thing. In the 10th canto, Krishna's toenails and his fingernails are praised by none other than Lord Balaram himself, who says that, oh, this land of Vrindavan is fortunate because your nails have touched the creepers and the trees of Vrindavan and your toenails have touched the soil of Vrindavan. That's what Lord Balaram is saying to Krishna, right? And Akrura, you know, the gentleman who took Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura, he was praying that your nails are more valuable than the most valuable jewels. And they are like a cooling moonshine. And they relieve all suffering. So if you are feeling any suffering, you just have to reflect on Akrura's prayers. Okay? So, and then this continues. This continues throughout. Also in the 11th canto, there are similar prayers. Okay? So now, this is just a very small, you know, yesterday I was telling Vamsi Bihari Prabhu when I met him that I have collected all the material. Now if I start speaking about all the material that I have, it'll probably be like an 8-hour thing minimum. Okay, because there's so much there. Okay, so one of our acharyas, Madhvacharya, you know, we are from the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, right? So Madhvacharya wrote a specific prayer called Nakhastuti. It's called what? Nakhastuti. It's 2 verses in Sanskrit, which are so beautifully composed by Madhvacharya himself, Ananda Tirthasya, that they only glorify the nails of Lord Narasimha. That's it, the 2 prayers, and they are chanted by millions of people. All the Madhva Vaishnavas chant those 2 prayers every single day. Every single day for the last 800 years they were chanting, okay? And the blessings that one gets from Nakhastuti are even, you know, just out of this world. Okay, so, but we have 2 very beautiful prayers, okay? 2 very beautiful reflections, which I will end with today, okay? So, both of them are from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I told you how many references I find Sachi? 40 plus, okay? And 2 of them, very prominent 2 of them are from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, okay? And I will describe those. Okay, the first one is, okay, it has been described in other places in our scripture also, but when a lady gets upset about something, one of the mannerisms is that she begins to scratch the ground with her toenails. It is done by Rukmini Devi, it was done by the gopis of Vrindavan, it was done by so many ladies across the Bhagavatam. You see, they start scratching the toenails now. Something's about to happen here. Something's about to happen here. Okay, she started scratching the ground with her toenails. Okay, so it's like that. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does a particular meditation. Okay, so before we chant these verses on Chaitanya Charitamrita, let's sing that. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this is from the Madhya Leela of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, it is from the second chapter. So this is volume 5. So I don't have the second chapter in this particular one, but I have it written down here. Taha haite ghare asi matira upar vashi, which means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Jagannath Puri. From the temple of Lord Jagannath, he came back home. Taha haite ghare asi matira upar vashi. He sat down on the ground, on the mud, on the ground. Okay? Mati. He's sitting down, sitting on the floor, not finished floor, but on the raw floor, ground. Nakhe kari prasati likhan. With his nail, he's writing in the ground. Okay? What is he writing? He's writing, ha ha kaha Vrindavan, ha ha kaha Vrindavan, kaha Gopendra Nandan, kaha se Vamsi Vadam. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, is sitting in Jagannath Puri, the ground of Jagannath Puri. And with his effulgent, remember Krishna's nails are effulgent, rubies, effulgent like many moons, etc., etc. So with those nails, he's writing in the ground and he's lamenting like this. He's saying, ha ha kaha Vrindavan. Say everybody, ha ha kaha Vrindavan, kaha Gopendra Nandan, kaha se Vamsi Vadan. So everybody should feel like this. Where is Vrindavan? Where is Gopendra Nandan? Where is Krishna? How come I cannot hear the sound of his flute playing? And there's a Acharya said many things about this verse, but we won't go into the details. But I will end with another, and this one I have the book for because it's correct in my present reading. So we're going to the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 21. And there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the opulence and sweetness of Krishna to Sanatana Goswami. Okay? What's the chapter? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describing the opulence and sweetness to Sanatana Goswami. And there is a incredible meditation. But I will focus on the nails first before we go to the rest of the meditation. Okay? Just Krishna's nails. So, I think everybody should repeat this. Okay? Kara nakha chander haat, Vamshi upar kare naat, Tara Gita Muralir Khan, Tara Gita Muralir Tan, Padanakha Chandragan, Tale Kare Nartan, Nupurir Dhvani Jargan. You should get a TV here so everybody can chant. It's not so, it's easily available now. Electronic G, please. Get a TV. It doesn't have to be, it's not a huge room. You don't need a super big TV today. Okay, let's repeat that once more. Okay, you already said it once, so you can say it easily this time. Karanakha Chander Haat, Vamshi Upar Kare Naat, Tara Gita Muralir Tan, Padanakha Chandragan, Tale Kare Nartan, Nupurer Dhvani Jargan. Okay, we talked about how many nails we have. How many nails do we have? 20. Krishna also has 20. Perfect. Well done. You're paying attention. Krishna has 20 nails. Not that Krishna has 20 nails because we have 20 nails. We have 20 nails because Krishna has 20 nails. Okay? So here's the meaning of what we just chanted. Okay? His fingernails are many full moons. Have you seen a full moon, anybody? Okay, close your eyes and think of a full moon. And think about 10 of those full moons. Okay? Not 1, not 2, but 10. How many? 10. His fingernails are many full moons and they dance on the flute in his hands. And imagine that these 10 full moons are in a straight line and they are dancing on top of Krishna's flute. 10 full moons. Can you see? Krishna's complexion is dark. He's playing flute at night. And his 10 fingernails are 10 full moons, and they're dancing on top of his flute. And then their song, what song are they dancing to? Their song is the melody of that flute. Whose flute? Krishna's flute. Whose moons? Krishna's moons. Now what about his toenails? There are also 10 of them, right? His toenails are also many full moons. Now 10 full moons. How many? 10 full moons. And they dance on the ground of Vrindavan. 10 full moons. 10 on top, 10 at bottom. And their song is a jingling of his ankle bells. And that is full moons. Okay, that is moons. That is Krishna's fingernails and toenails. Okay? So, but this particular chapter, this particular few verses appear actually in the middle of description of Krishna's beauty. This is confidential, but it's available in the Chaitanya Charitamrita openly to everybody who gets a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'll disclose it because it's there in the book anyways, right? So there's a particular Gayatri mantra called the Kam Gayatri. And the Kam Gayatri has 24 and a half syllables. How many? 24 and a half syllables. Okay? You have to get twice initiative for that. But those 24 and a half syllables are compared to the 24 moons of Krishna. What are the 24 moons of Krishna? We'll count now, okay? Here. The face of Krishna. Should we read the Bengali also? Sakhi hai Krishna Mukha Dvija Raja Raj Krishna Vapu Simhasane Vasi Rajya Shasane Kare Sange Chandrera Samaj. The face of Krishna is the king of all moons. Who is it? King of all moons. And the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus the king governs a society of moons. Okay, this is description given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, originally given by the gopis. Now he is giving it to Sanatana Goswami. Can you imagine Sanatana Goswami's great good fortune that he is receiving this directly from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Dui Ganda Suchikan Jini Mani Sudarpan Sei Durab Dui Purna Chandra Jani Lalate Ashtami Indu Tahate Chandana Bindu Sei Eka Purna Chandramani. So Krishna has two cheeks. When you see Gopijana Vallabha, you will see him. Two cheeks that shine like glowing gems. Both are considered full moons. Two cheeks. Full moons. Full moons. His forehead is considered a half moon. Forehead considered a half moon. And the spot of sandalwood there that a devotee has put is considered a full moon. And then the two verses that we read. Krishna Naka Chandar Heart, Vamshi Upar Kare Naat, Tara Gita Murali Ratan, Pada Naka Chandragan, Tale Kare Nartan, Nupure Bhani Jargan. 20 there. Okay. And then Nache Makara Kundal, Neta Lila Kamal, Vilasi Raja, Satay Nachai, Brudhanu Netravan, Dhanurguna Duikan, Nari Mana Laksha Vindhetai. Krishna's face is the enjoy king. That full moon face makes his sharp-shaped earrings and lotus eyes dance. His eyes are dancing, earrings are dancing. Krishna is constantly dancing. Like in the Brahma Samhita, you know. It says every step is a dance and every word is a song. Like that. His eyebrows are like bows. And his eyes are like arrows. His ears are fixed on the string of that bow. Yes, fixed on the string of that bow of his eyes. And when his eyes spread to his ears, he pierces the heart of the gopis. So this is a little meditation on Krishna's nails. And I hope that is suitable enough for all the mothers. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, challenges, please let me know.
Yeah, what about Krishna's shadow? How is shadow? Anything unique about that?
Yes. Krishna's shadow is called Maya. It's there in the Brahma Samhita also. Chaye vayasya bhuvanani vibharti durga ichhanurupam apiyasya chacheshtate sa govindamadi purusham namaham bhajami. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. Who is that? Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. She stays like a shadow. So material energy is the shadow of Krishna.
So Maya also takes shelter on Krishna, right?
Yes.
Even Maya.
Yes, she is his most dedicated and loving servant. And in fact, that is why in Jagannath Puri, Vimala Devi, who is a form of Maya Devi, sits outside the temple of Lord Jagannath. Because she says, Lord Shiva gets your prasad, Lord Brahma gets your prasad, but I don't get your prasad. So he says, okay, you sit here. So Lord Jagannath's prasad, after it's offered in the main temple of Lord Jagannath, prasad is brought out, and the first person who tastes that prasad is Vimala Devi. And when she tastes his prasad, then it becomes Mahaprasad, which means that Mahaprasad means the prasadam of the Lord that has been tasted first by a pure devotee of the Lord. So Maya Devi is a pure devotee of the Lord, and she's serving in separation. Can you imagine? She cannot enter Krishna's pastimes, but she's serving him in separation. So her Vipralamba Bhava is something that our acharyas greatly appreciate. Nobody serves like Maya. Such a thankless job, but she does it.
Just one question out of right? In Christianity, okay, they got Satan, right? But Satan is also like Maya, because Satan was a. So I'm just trying to
yeah. So it's similar idea, but the flaw in the Christian understanding of Satan is that they understand that Satan is somehow a competitor to God, but God can have no competitors. Otherwise, God is not God. What sort of God has competitors? What sort of God is he? They don't have a proper understanding of God. Right? Actually, the idea that the Vaishnava acharyas and the Vaishnava scriptures say is that this God is asamurdhva. Asamurdhva means one who has asama, no equal, and no higher. So competitor means equal. If two teams are competing on a football field, that means they are kind of equal and they are fighting, which is the score is 2-1 at the end of the game. So one team won against the other team. So it can happen that in the next time the other team can win if they play better, correct? But that's what competitor implies. Competitor implies that people are on this, that the two opponents are on the same platform. But actually, God can have no competition, asamurdha. So therefore, there is no competition with God. So therefore, the idea of Satan is a little bit immature because they think that God can actually have a competitor. So we should understand that actually God can have no competitor. And Maya Devi is not God's competitor. What she makes you feel is that you are God's competitor.
I think Maya, her biggest trick is to make people think she doesn't exist.
That's a great trick. Disappear.
To make you think she doesn't exist.
But actually,
if you can't see an enemy.
But actually, Srila Prabhupada said, and one of the speakers that I saw a video of, the person was asking a question. Oh, Prabhu, Maya is so strong. How can I get out of Maya? How can I get out of her clutches? This person was asking. This is a sincere person. The speaker got off his Vyasasan. There was a pillar in the temple room. He grabbed a hold of the pillar like this. Grabbed a hold of the pillar like this. I said, Maya Devi, let go of me. Let go of me, Maya Devi. Who's holding on to the pillar? Not Maya Devi. He's not holding on to me. I'm holding on to her. That's our problem. So it's not a trick of Maya. It's a trick. But the trick is the trick that I'm playing on myself. Not turning towards Krishna. That's the thing. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. Yes, Prabhu.
In the Bhagavad Gita, it's also his eyes are considered the moon as one of the eyes.
Yes,
eyes.
in the Bhagavad Gita, Gajan Prabhu is reminding us the eyes of the sun and the moon are his eyes. Yes, in the Vishwarupa version. Yes, thank you very much.
And is there a mention of the teeth?
Krishna's teeth, pearls, yeah, they are not in the Bhagavad Gita because see, Bhagavad Gita is a very it's very concise, very concise. You can't get too much into detail.
No, I mean like other Srimad Bhagavatam.
Oh yes,
they talk about teeth.
Oh, that's a whole different thing. Krishna's teeth are described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teeth are described in various scriptures as a string of pearls, and so many beautiful things are described. Krishna smiles, but it's a whole different thing. It's like it's just what we talked about the nails. Every part of Krishna's body is described like that in different scriptures, different acharyas. And the more intimate and the more confidential the scripture is, the more intense will the scriptures become. Just like we read a particular part of the Madhya from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. How intense was that? So it's like that. Every part of Krishna's beauty is that incomparable. That's why it's Madan Mohan. Because once I get attracted to Krishna, then no other attraction will attract me. And if I'm not yet attracted, if I'm attracted by other things in the material world, that means I have never seen Krishna at all. Ever. If something is drawing me to it, something is saying, this is better than, in the Bhagavad Gita I said, right? Yes. Yasmin sthite guru napi na vicharyate. So even with great disaster strikes, a person thinks that there's nothing higher than what I have already. Like that. Okay? So we still have 4 minutes.
I'm trying to speak, sorry.
Oh, you have a sore throat?
God.
Yeah.
If the nails are amazing, then is that the only point of meditation and not the full form of Krishna?
That's not it. I said that our acharyas have been very careful to explain that there's no hierarchy in Krishna's form. There's no gradation that this is more beautiful than this like that, because Krishna is absolute. So therefore, it's practically almost an offense to say that Krishna's this part of the body is more beautiful than this part. Except if somebody is in love, like the gopis, then they can say whatever they like. You can't argue with a person who is in love. So that's not the point. But the point is that if a yogi can stay meditating on the lotus feet and the nails of Krishna for tens of thousands of years of continuous meditation, and if I can't focus 1 minute on Krishna's toenails, then where am I and what is the level of my devotion today? Prachetas are not mentioned in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? They're mentioned in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? And they saw Lord Vishnu, they didn't see Krishna. It's all Lord Vishnu. Right? So they are not considered as intimate associates of the Lord, the Prachetas. But the Prachetas meditated on the Lord's lotus nails for 10,000 years underwater, without breathing. So, if they could do that, and they are not even supposed to be, they are not the gopis of Vrindavan, they are not Yashoda, they are not Nanda Maharaj, they are not Krishna's boyfriends, they are not Krishna's cows, they are not intimately related with Krishna like that. Then what is to be said of me, who cannot meditate on Krishna for few hours, few minutes? Krishna's toenails. So the idea there is that if I am not at the level where I can see Krishna's toenails, then for me to reflect on Krishna's form is actually a kind of gustaki. It's impudence, arrogance.
Would it also be an offense then if you think in the way of nails are so amazing, then Krishna's amazingness is much greater than that? Because there's not, you said, not relative degree of comparison in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So would that even be wrong? Then?
It's good for us to meditate like that. Like if devotees have realized so much about Krishna's nails, how much more is to be realized about Krishna himself, or the whole of Krishna. But it's not like, so we don't say that, oh, now the hand of Krishna is more beautiful than Krishna's nails, and like that. We don't say that. If you look at the description, that's why poetry or composing prayers, etc., is left to the advanced devotees in general, because we may make such a mistake. Like, Swarup Damodar used to carefully vet what is going to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only trusted people are able to present their poetry to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because they didn't want to spoil his mood and get him upset with some kind of rasabhas or something like that that might inadvertently keep into an inexperienced person's poetry. Like, for example, a disciple saying Krishna is in his name, and Prabhupada saying, where is he in his, very specifically is Krishna in his name. Like that little nuance. So for us, we can consider that, but it's not the thing. We don't have that to reflect on Leela Smaran, Rupa Smaran. These are very high meditations, and so therefore we are Shravan. Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Kara Uday. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Namavid Gayamindriyai Sevan Mukhe Jivhalo Swayameva Suratana. So we wait patiently for Krishna to manifest, while continuously hearing Krishna's name. Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Kara Uday. Sadhya Kabul Noy. Sadhya Kabul Noy, Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Kara Uday. We keep hearing. For advanced devotees. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram Mahamantra ki Jai.